What's up, YouTube? This is Too Raw for TV. All right, so before I get into this video, I want to give a big shout out to the man, the myth, the legend, the brother Robert Mason coming through once again with the $10 donation via the PayPal. Much respect to him for showing love to Too Raw for TV. And I saw your note, and I can't repeat exactly what you said, but I agree 100% with what you stated, and your last line was hilarious. But I agree, man. Traditionally, that just does not happen. There's always growing pains when it comes to the NBA. You know what I'm saying? Very rarely does that happen, especially a team, of that situation. Anyway, the last game from last night, and the last team to actually get their playoff series started was the first-seeded Oklahoma City Thunder versus the eighth-seeded New Orleans Pelicans. Of course, the Pelicans were battling the Lakers for the seventh seed, but they lost that game. Same game as Zion scored 40 points, but then came up limp. And according to reports, Zion will be out for another 2 weeks. So the Pelicans will have to do whatever they can to extend their playoff run in hopes of Zion joining them sometime, I guess, in early May. This was the series that, quite honestly, I thought was ripe for a potential upset. The Thunder were and are the first seed, but of course they are still a young team, obviously, and they lack playoff experience. Couple that with the fact that the Pelicans, although they do have young components, they do have certain players like C.J. McCollum who have playoff experience. They have some guys, some veterans that have some playoff experience. So we consider how deep the Pelicans can be, especially with Zion there. I thought this was a series where the first seed could be in danger of being beaten. And this time, unlike the Bucks, not with a major injury to the first seed. And this was probably the best game of yesterday. The other games were pretty much blowouts. They're blowouts or not really very competitive. This game went wire for wire for the most part. The Thunder had a decent lead, but in the third quarter, I believe it was, into the fourth quarter, they started misfiring offensively. Matter of fact, I think they had a stretch in the fourth quarter where they went 5 minutes without a field goal. And that's when the Thunder got back into it. But Shai Alexander hit some big shots down the stretch of this ball game, and he wound up with 28 points, and they won 94-92, and take a one games to none lead in this best of seven series. Now I know a lot of people were saying, why did C.J. McCollum take that shot? Why was C.J. McCollum playing quote unquote hero ball at the end? And I understand what they're saying. But you got to remember, C.J. McCollum, especially in his Portland days, was a very good ISO scorer. And also C.J. McCollum on that Pelicans team is the one guy that has the most playoff experience. And he has experience in those situations. So it didn't make sense for him to have the ball in his hands. Now, what I don't agree with is that every time that he had the ball, that he had to try to score. You know what I'm saying? I do agree with that. You got to get the ball, try to get the ball to Brandon Ingram to a certain extent as well. But ultimately, and then some people have an issue with the shot selection down the stretch. Now, you can argue that he was forced into that three-pointer with the strip and time running out. But you don't necessarily have to always go for the three. You can go for the tie. And whatever the case may be, the Thunder won. They avoided losing the game and being in some serious trouble. It was the first seed losing the game at home. And for the Thunder, Shai had 28 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists. Chet Holmgren, 15 points, 11 rebounds. Jalen Williams had 19 points, 7 rebounds, 4 assists. And for the Pelicans, Trey Murphy III had 21 points. Brandon Ingram just 12 points in the game. Jonas Valanciunas 13 points with 20 rebounds. And CJ 20 points to go along with 6 assists. And as a team, the Pelicans out-rebounded the Thunder 52-44. But the Thunder had a slight edge in points in the paint, 42-36. Neither team shot the three very well. Neither team shot the ball that well, though. The Pelicans were very bad offensively, only 39% from the floor and 28% from downtown. Neither team got to the foul line that much. The Pelicans were 7 of 9 from the line, the Thunder 10 of 13. But the Pelicans had a big advantage in the offensive rebounding department, 18-8, and obviously that helped to keep them into the ball game down to the last moments. But anyway, salute to the Thunder for victory, and I believe this is the first time in 11 years that all first-round teams won their respective game ones at home. I believe that's the case. You can fact check me on that, but I think this is the first time since 2013 that all home teams won in the opening round in game one.